Hi, Allie. Welcome back to our session. I know last time you took the strong interest inventory. And so this time we're just going to kind of go over your results and what that means for you. I know you kind of talked about how you want to do more like artistic kind of stuff, and your parents are kind of wanting you to go more towards like medical and different things like that. And so we're just going to kind of go over this test to just kind of see where your interest in things lie so that you can help create a better informed decision on what you want to do and what you want to go to school for and just different things like that.
Okay.
So the strong interest inventory, basically it just kind of helps people to match their interest with potential education, career, and leisure activities. It's a very reliable test. Many people use it all over, and they use it to kind of get their basic interest to kind of make a decision on where they want to continue their career path.
Okay.
Um, I will say though that while we're going over any of these results, just because like we'll eventually go over your top 10 job occupations, you don't have to choose from those, and whatever your
Okay.
first one is doesn't mean that that's the job that you have to choose. It's all very much up to you. This is just kind of indicating where your interests lie. So all right. So first, we're going to go over just the general occupational themes. These are the six themes that are included in this assessment. The first one is social. Social, the interests for this one are kind of people, teamwork, helping, community service. Some of the activities that this may be included for work would kind of be teaching, caring for people, counseling, maybe training some employees. Some potential skills would be people skills, verbal ability, listening, showing understanding, compassion. And some of the values would be cooperation, generosity, and service to others. The next theme is artistic. These interests are self expression, art appreciation, communication, culture. Some activities that you may do in your work life would be composing music, performing, writing, creating visual art. Some of these potential skills that you might be interested in are creativity, musical ability, and artistic expression. And some of the values of this theme is beauty, originality, independence, and imagination. And the next one is enterprising. Some of the interests for this one is business, politics, leadership, entrepreneurship. Some of the activities you may be doing would be like selling, managing, persuading, marketing, that kind of stuff in the business world.
Mhm.
Some potential skills for this theme would be verbal ability, ability to motivate and direct others. And some values would be risk taking, status, competition, and influence. Do you have any questions on the first three so far?
No, I don't think so.
All right, perfect. And the next one would be conventional.
Mhm.
Some of these interests would be organization, data management, accounting, investing, information systems, different things like that. Some activities that you may be doing would be setting up procedures and systems, organizing, keeping records, developing computer applications. Some potential skills would be the ability to work with numbers, data analysis, finances, attention to detail, different things like that. And some values would be accuracy, stability, and efficiency. The next theme is investigative. This would be your sciences, your medicines, maths, research, all that different kind of stuff. And some work activities would be performing lab work, solving abstract problems, and conducting research. Some of those potential skills for this one would be mathematical ability, researching, writing, and analyzing. And then some of the values would be independence, curiosity, and learning. And then our last theme would be realistic. Some of these interests are machines, computer networking, athletics, working outdoors. This one's kind of a broader one. Some of the activities you may be doing are operating equipment, using tools, building, repairing, providing security. These are your more hands on type of physical jobs.
Mhm.
Some potential skills would be mechanical ingenuity and dexterity, physical coordination, and some values would be tradition, practicality, and common sense. Do you have any questions on the last three of those?
No, I don't think so.
All right. Do you have any idea what your highest themes might be?
I mean, I would think artistic. I definitely don't think I'd do anything realistic or investigative, knowing me, but maybe social. But I know that I'm just like not really wanting to go into teaching, so I don't know. But I definitely think artistic.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. So your highest theme is actually social. That one's
Okay.
pretty high for you with a score of 62.
Yeah.
And then artistic, like you kind of mentioned, was right there next to it, was second. That one's a score of 45, so not too far behind.
Hmm.
And then kind of like you touched on, realistic, investigative, they're not really for you. And those are definitely your two low
Yeah.
with 32 and 34. And then kind of right in the middle, you have enterprising and conventional at 41 and 40. So those are your kind of middle. But yeah, you were definitely autistic or artistic and social are very high up for you.
Okay.
Right. And so for these, the basic interest scales, these are areas that often point to work activities, projects, coursework, leisure activities that you find personally motivating and rewarding. So they're just some different interest areas kind of within those six themes that kind of really break it down and you can see where you're most interested.
Okay.
And like you can see right here, your top five would be religion and spirituality for social, counseling and helping for social, teaching and education for social. I know you kind of mentioned that you weren't really looking at becoming a teacher, but
Yeah.
number four would be writing and mass communication, which is A, and then politics and public speaking is for enterprising.
Okay.
And then over here, where your areas of least interest would be programming and information systems for conventional, protective services for realistic, and visual arts and design for artistic. So those are your three lowest.
Okay.
All right. So over here in social, your highest two are religion and spirituality with 67 and counseling and helping with 66. For artistic, your highest would be writing and mass communication with 63 and culinary arts with 57 or 59. My apologies. Do any of those last four that we kind of spoke about within the social and the artistic, do any of those kind of speak out to you?
Definitely religion and spirituality, and then the counseling and helping. I think
Yeah.
those are pretty obvious to me. The culinary arts surprises me a little bit.
Is it?
Um, but I mean, I could see it, just probably not for like a career.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And kind of how we touched on in the very beginning, some of these may be super high, but if you don't see yourself doing that as a career, that's just part of it. Some of these just may be interests that you have. So if
Right.
you find yourself like on the side just liking to bake or cook or something with culinary, that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to choose that as a career. It just may be something
Right.
that spikes your interest.
Okay.
So moving on to enterprising, your top one is politics and public speaking and management for 58 and 50. Do either of those kind of surprise you or are those you like?
Politics and public speaking surprises me. I
Does
mean,
it?
I'm good at public speaking, but I don't like it at all.
Yeah.
And then management, I guess I could see management.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So moving along to conventional, your highest is office management. That one's at 53. And then your next highest is actually all the way down at 36. And that's
Mm.
financing and investing. Are either of those kind of interest you at all or?
Office management, done a lot of that, so that
Yeah.
doesn't surprise me.
So you're investigative. All of them are around the same. They're all in that 35 to 39 range for the research, mathematics, science, and medical science. Um,
Mhm.
I know those are all obviously kind of low on your interest scale, but do any of those, like, have you had any jobs prior in those, or do any of those kind of
Yeah,
you?
I'm good at all those areas. Like I like in my academics, I've done a lot of research, so I guess that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, I'm also not like crazy about actually doing it.
Yeah.
Just
Which,
because I'm good at it doesn't mean I like it. So
yes. And I think that part of that may be why, your parents are kind of pushing you to choose something in like the research mathematics
right,
area
yeah,
because
since
you
I'm
are
good at
so
it.
good at it. Yes. But, if you're not interested in that, it may not be a sustainable career. So
Right.
definitely understandable. And so for your very last one, realistic, your highest was nature and agriculture and athletics for 41 and 37. Do either of those surprise you?
No, I mean, I guess they interest me, just not career.
Yeah,
But
just not enough.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure. All right. Do you have any questions on any of these?
no, I don't think so.
All right, then we'll go ahead and move along to occupational scales.
Okay.
So these are where it brings in different occupations that it kind of scores with your results and gives you ones that it believes that you may be the best at. And
Okay.
so your number one is speech pathologist. And then you have librarian, mental health counselor, special education teacher, elementary school teacher, social worker, public relations director, school counselor, English teacher, and secondary school teacher. And then your occupations that are kind of the lowest on your interest scale would be architect, athletic trainer, physicist, veterinarian, and medical illustrator. Do any of those kind of surprise you, whether it be high on your list or very low on your list?
I guess I knew I would like be good at education since I like kids and teaching and all that, but it doesn't mean I want to do that again for my career. So it surprises me how many there are in education.
Mhm.
And I also am surprised that a veterinarian is put as like a dissimilar interest because I don't know, I thought about that at one point. So
Yeah. Yeah, those are good points. And I know you spoke at the beginning that you said that you weren't really super interested in teaching. And so
yeah,
even though teaching is a big part of your top 10 list, again, that doesn't mean that you have to choose that or like settle for something like that. So
right.
these other ones, or even though veterinarian is on your dissimilar interest, if it's something that you really like and you really push for it, that doesn't mean that you can't succeed at it. It's just
Mm-hmm.
based off this test, it may not be something that you would be the most satisfied in.
Right. Okay.
And so for these occupations, as well as some of the ones we'll go over in a second, you can actually click on any of them and it will take you to the ONET database where you can kind of learn about the occupations and you can find career information and it'll set you up with people who are currently working in that occupation and they can describe what they do day to day just so you can see what it is and what they like and dislike to help you make a better formed opinion about what you might want to go.
Awesome.
Do you have any questions about these?
No, I think that's helpful though. Thank you.
Yeah. Right. So we'll go over just a few of your occupational skills here. There are over 130 that this test measures, so we won't go over
Okay.
quite all of them, but kind of like we went over, most of your top ones are up here.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll go ahead and move down to artistic. So, like your librarian, public relations director, English teacher, broadcast journalist, those are kind of your top ones for artistic.
Okay.
Then moving down to enterprising, there's kind of the facilities manager, elected public official, life insurance agent, just some different things like that.
Interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I also wanted to mention just real quick that so like we're here is like a score of 46 or a 45, and that would be up here in the similar results category where you would share interests with other women that in that occupation that you would probably enjoy that work. And then mid range is 30 to 39. That would be for women in that occupation that you would probably share some interests that enjoy that work. And then dissimilar is 20 and below, and it's you share few interests with the woman in that occupation, and you probably would not enjoy that work.
Okay.
And
That's
then
helpful, yeah.
so yeah, down here in conventional, we have administrative assistant and food service manager at 53 and 50. So those are a little bit higher.
Mhm.
And then for investigative, we have psychologist and sociologist, even though psychologist is pretty far above sociologist up there, but those are your two highest for investigative.
Okay.
And then down here for realistic, you have law enforcement officer and landscape or grounds manager for your two high for the realistic.
Okay.
And then up here, I'll go back up here to your top one, your social. So your top two results were social and artistic, and then you had enterprising, and so those would be your code. SA would be your code because those were your
Okay.
two highest. But if you wanted to include three, it would be social, artistic, and then enterprising. So if you're kind of interested
Okay.
in some jobs that include just one, like just social would be mental health counselor. One that has two would be
Mhm.
speech pathologist that has your social and your artistic. And then if you're looking for one for all three, that would be like school administrator, human resources manager, that would have all three of those for you.
Okay.
Yeah, and so over here down in this ONET, you can look up all of these occupations and just kind of get a feel for any of them that you think might spark your interest. Even the ones like all the way down here, like even though physical therapist is a pretty low score
Mhm.
with 3, I think that's your lowest score overall. So it's pretty
Mhm.
dissimilar. But if for some reason reading that name, you're like, huh, maybe I would like to be a physical therapist, you can read about it on there and just see if their day-to-day work would kind of interest you.
Okay.
Right. And then do you have any questions about that?
No.
Okay, we'll go ahead and move on to personal style scales then. So this is a way to describe your different ways of approaching people, learning and leading, as well as your interest in taking risk and participating in teams and different things like that. And so
Mhm.
your personal style scales are you prefer working with people. You seem to prefer to learn through lectures and textbooks. You probably prefer to lead by taking charge. You may dislike taking risks, and you probably enjoy both team roles and independent roles. Do any of those kind of sound surprising to you, or do those kind of make sense?
No, I think actually those all make sense. Yeah.
Okay. And then now we'll move on to the actual scores themselves. And for clear scores, that would be below 46 and above 54. That indicates a clear preference for one style versus the other. And then mid range would be you indicate that some of the descriptions on both sides apply to you. So for clear scores, if you're like all the way at 0, that means, especially for like this work style for number 1, you would prefer working alone, you enjoy data, ideas, or things, and you're reserved. Versus if you had over 75, you would be prefers working with people, enjoys helping others, outgoing. So it kind of depends where you fall on that scale. And for work style, you fall right at 73. So you're on the pretty high range for prefers working with other people, enjoys helping others, you're more outgoing. Does that kind of sound right for you?
Yeah.
All right. And for your learning environment, you scored a 62, which means you're a little bit more preferable towards the prefers academic environments, learns through lectures and textbook. You're willing to spend many years in school, seeks knowledge for its own sake. For your leadership style, you scored a 58, which again means you're a little bit more preferable for the is comfortable taking charge of and motivating others, prefers directing others to do the job alone, enjoys initiating action, and expresses opinions easily. Do those last two, the learning environment and the leadership style, kind of sound good for you?
Yeah.
Good. All right, so we'll move on to risk taking. So for risk taking, you scored a 30, and so you're pretty heavy on the side of dislikes risk taking, likes quiet activities, prefers to play it safe, makes careful decisions. Are you
Right.
someone that likes to kind of take risks, or like this kind of
No, that makes sense for me. Yeah.
does it? Right. And then for team orientation, you actually scored kind of in the mid range. So you're a little bit between, prefers accomplishing tasks independently, enjoys role as independent contribution, likes to solve problems on their own, and prefers working on teams, enjoys collaborating on team goals, and likes problem solving with others. So you're kind of about the middle with that. So
Okay.
would you say that it kind of depends like on the situation? And
Yeah. Or the assignment. Yeah, for sure.
yeah, for sure. All right, so here is just your overall profile summary. So again, your highest themes were social and artistic, making your theme code essay. Your top 5 interest area were religion and spirituality, counseling and helping, teaching and education, writing and mass communication, politics and public speaking. And your least areas of interest were programming and information systems, protective services, visual arts and design. Here were your top 10 strong occupations, where we kind of discussed that most of them kind of mentioned teaching, but if that's not something that you're interested in, you don't have to choose something like that just because these results indicate that you would be good with your interest scale on there. And then here are some occupations that are of dissimilar interest. And then here are your personal style scale preferences. Those are the last 5 that we just talked about. And then here is the last summary where it talks about the different sections and if you strongly like, strongly dislike, or if you're kind of indifferent. And so this last page, this page 10 here, is a really good summary of everything that we just talked about. And I can go ahead and send you this guide after our session, just so that you can kind of take your time to look at the different occupations and kind of see what sparks your interest.
Okay. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions or anything?
No, I don't think so. I think this was helpful to get some more ideas, and I like that I can look at all occupations too. So I think
Yeah.
it's good. Thank you.
Yeah. Did you have any like reactions to anything, or did most of the stuff not come as a big surprise to you?
Yeah, I guess just the education, how much was there. So I am going to go back and look at some of those other careers too and kind of where I scored. But yeah, I think most of it was pretty self-explanatory, not too surprising.
Mm-hmm. Do you think it will help maybe to kind of show this to your parents and show them that your interest scales are so low for kind of the occupations that they want you to go into?
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think I can argue with the actual assessment now. So
Yes.
that'll be good.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'd encourage you to take time, after our session to really look at those occupations and just kind of to think of what this means for you in your future. This is by no means something that you have to treat like word, like you have to go and, oh, well, speech pathologist was my number one. I have to be a speech pathologist. So this
Right.
is kind of all up to you and your interpretation. And, it'll be nice to just take a little bit time on your own, just kind of digest these results and kind of see what it means for you and make a decision going forward about your career. So, all right,
Thank you. Appreciate it.
if you have no other questions for me, then we'll go ahead and get off, and I'll go ahead and send this over to you, and then we'll meet up next time and see what some of the ones that you went over stuck out to you.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.